How's it going, guys? So we're here for this month's big Rust update. So we have our weekly things here and there, but this is the big shebang, all of it being added in. It is a force wipe, new map updates being added into it, and all sorts of other things, as well as some optimizations and so forth we'll cover. So the main thing here is we've got scuba gear has been added into the game, as you can see. So what we have here is we've got the scuba mask, which allows you to see underwater, the wetsuit, which keeps you warmer underwater, the tank, which gives you, well, by default, 10 minutes underwater of breathing, and you also have the fins, which, however, slow you down on land to a crawl, speed you up quite a bit in the water. Now, a few things that we need to cover here is the tank can be refilled at a workbench. It is a workbench. Once you've had some time taken, you click refill. The thing is, it refills, but it knocks 15 seconds off of your overall time. You'll see that it starts getting a damage indicator to its durability there, that little red that's showing up. So let's go ahead and disappear off into the ocean. And as you'll see, there's these little water bottles floating around. These water bottles indicate that there is a dive site nearby. These are kind of like junk piles in the ocean, and you can go ahead and scuba dive your butt down here. And there'll be different things. It could be a boat, it could be a little tiny tugboat, it could be a barge like this, and on them you will find a crate somewhere. You'll have to hold E on it to untie it. And this takes a few seconds. And this is just more or less, you know, so people aren't just grabbing stuff and disappearing. Puts a little effort into it. You'll probably want to have a boat above with possibly a friend waiting in it. If not, you can swim and follow it at, you know, a decent speed. But, you know, if other people are paying attention, you might just have someone rolling up and grabbing all the chests you unlock. So once you've gotten it, you can open it, and they will have similar things to what you would expect in junk piles and components. So that's actually pretty cool there. You'll also find, as we'll go into no clip here, as I said, lots of different things. Now, these are placeholders for some, like, you know, a lot of these plants and stuff are, you know, land plants. As you can see, none of this is actually seaweed or anything. It passes off pretty well, though, for it. But again, the team has said that is all a placeholder, and they hope to go ahead and improve that soon as they're working on it. The other thing they have added is underwater rock formations. These, again, are placeholders. They aren't 100% done, but they'll have 1 to 3 loot containers around them. You have to kind of search for it, but as you look around, you'll eventually find something. Same thing, you're going to have to untie these just like the others. Now, when they are under the rocks here, you'll see and you wonder, well, is it going to get caught? And last time I tested, it passed straight through the rock and went up. But let's, for the sake of the video, just check this out right now and see if that is true as well. And you'll see it gets stuck, and you can open it down here. Okay, perfect. All right, so that has been fixed. So that is a nice little thing there. So that's basically what's covering the diving and what's going on there. More things will, of course, come into action. With this new underwater update, I'm sure there'll be, you know, eventually some underwater dungeons, which they have planned, which will be pretty cool. There's also plans for a barge event, as well as, or cargo ship event, and a possible barge that travels through islands. And yes, that's right, islands. If you haven't seen the roadmap update, go watch that video, guys. They are adding in multiple islands as soon. So that's pretty cool right there. Let's go ahead and check out what else we've got this update. Also, one of the things people have been asking for quite a while is, well, how come we can't see what we're wearing on our arms? It's kind of lame. It doesn't seem like a finished game. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing a wetsuit, and you can see the wetsuit on me. If I go ahead and add gloves, you'll now see I am wearing gloves. We can switch to a t-shirt. Now I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. I'm also now wearing a hoodie. And then I think certain things that, yep, see, as you can see, the armor from the heavy armor is actually showing on the arms as well. So that is pretty cool there. And we'll go ahead and pop on a rad suit, and you can see the rad suit showing. This also supports skin, so if you do craft something with a skin on it, that skin will show, which is something really cool that we have needed. Now, there are a few things that I wanted to cover as well as, covering as the optimizations. So you'll see here first, let's talk about hacking a little bit. So we'll pull up this picture here, just so you can, go back to it for reference if you don't want to, if you're too lazy to go to the dev blog. But basically, the team has come together and they said, yes, they realize that hacking is worse than it ever has been. And they go ahead and, they fess up to it and say, we could have done more and we didn't, so we did. So this month they did a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that they didn't go ahead and share publicly for obvious reasons. And this is a list of things that hackers used to be able to do, but should no longer be able to do in Rust. Projectile trajectory hacks, so, aimbot. Speed resource gathering, speed swim and crouch, so, speed hack kind of things. Looting dropped items through walls or under the world, placing deployables through walls, damaging through walls by, clipping their head through. Silent melee swings and attacks, so all of a sudden you're just being hit, you can't hear or see anything, what's going on, you're dead. That kind of stuff. Silent projectile impacts, shooting you and you're being hit by a bullet but you just drop dead for no reason. Basically is what that is. Sign upload lag. They used to be able to upload certain images to signs to cause lag and effectively DDoS people in ways. Not exactly DDoSing, but, similar. It's obviously not the proper term for it. Rapid fire with the bow, unlimited oxygen, so they can hide underwater, that kind of thing, as if they were an admin in God mode, more or less. Crafting queue server crash exploit, so there was an exploit where you could crash the server using the full queues, and a chat UI corruption, which is something I've never even heard of. So, like I said, they said there's no excuse for them not fixing these things. They fixed them. They're also working with EAC to do as much as they can with them. Regular check-ins with EAC and constantly just kind of keeping on top of that kind of thing, which is super important. Also, they've worked on the building system. There was a few exploits out there, like people being able to put a bunch of in a fan formation of a door using the frames. That's gone. They fixed a few other things, but they said some other things may have unintentionally been added back. They'll continue to work on getting those out as well. So that's a nice thing there. Lastly, they've done some work on the underwater rendering. They've done work on ambient occlusion. So you'll see here, basically ambient occlusion is kind of how you see your global light in the game. And you'll see kind of the differences here. They're using a new, as they say, state-of-the-art technique, which will not only help improvement of how things are seen in game, but also help with some optimizations. They said it still has some work to go, but it's doing really well. CPU improvements have happened this week. You can check out the dev blog for that. It should help low to mid-range CPUs, which is awesome there. They've done some work on water rendering, which not only makes water better looking, but is also going to help with some performance as well. So they've done a lot of stuff this week, guys. You always say they don't do optimizations or anything like that, and they are, and they're actually working on it. So that is definitely something that is really cool. So let's check out what else is coming in this update. Another nice little change. Some people have complained about the chainsaw and that the fact that its noise is just really annoying when using it. It has seen some improvements. Sounds a lot more like a real chainsaw. And you'll notice that really annoying sound of the duh is gone. So that's actually quite nice. And apparently it also makes different noises depending on the kind of stuff you're actually hitting. Yep, okay. I actually heard a little bit as well. But you'll see there, so some nice little improvements to the chainsaw, which is quite nice. Sound and stuff like that might always seem important, but honestly, it really does make the environment that the game is. Alright guys, so last but definitely the coolest part of the update this month is going to be the compound. This was the focus of the update, besides all the diving stuff, and this is the big part to it. So we've got the compound here. And this is a new monument. It is not a rad town. And you'll see there's a bunch of broken down buildings. It does, as a lot of people have said in my previous video covering it, have a big Fallout feel to it. As you'll see outside, there's a sign that says no weapons, no killing, no thieving, no sleeping. And those are the rules here. And as you just wander on in, you'll see it says safe zone. The safe zone goes for quite a bit outside of it as well. At a decent radius. Of course, you can't build there or anything to, help prevent people from walling it in or anything like that. You'll notice there are green-suited scientists around. These are peacekeeper scientists. You can't really interact with them. The only time they are going to interact with you is if you are not doing something you should be doing. So if you pull out a weapon or something, you'll get a warning, and it won't be so great. So, yeah. You can see there's also a train track that used to come through here, which is pretty neat. Boy, how would a train track that actually works be in Rust? That would be pretty awesome. But as you'll see here, there's a repair bench for people to use and a recycler. Now, the way these work is only one person can use them at a time. That way, someone can't just come in here and steal all your stuff and be annoying, because there's no way for you to shoot them if they steal your things. The other thing is, if you do die in here somehow, or, whatever, you disconnect or something like that, no one's going to be able to loot your body except for yourself, which is pretty good. There's these vending machines in here, and they're going to be basically selling things for scrap. And there's a tool vending machine. There is a resource vending machine where you can also trade wood and stone for each other, which is pretty cool. That's a nice little thing there. There's several other vending machines, which we'll check out along the way. You can see there are tier 1 workbenches that you can go ahead and actually use in here, which is pretty neat. And there's also a public refinery. Same thing here. People aren't going to be able to loot it while you're in there using it. However, if you leave your stuff behind, that's, well, that's your own thing. It gets lost behind. There are barrels in here, but I'm not sure about harvesting them because I think tools count as weapons. So that's, let's actually here. Let's check that one out. We're going to go to items here. We're going to give ourselves a hatchet. And let's see, does that, yeah, oh yeah, it says disarm. So I'm not sure how you're supposed to break that one. That is a good question. But as we mosey around here, you'll see there's more shops around this location. Over here, you'll find you can buy a large furnace and refinery, which are pretty hard to find. So that's actually a really nice little addition there. Of course, you still have to safely make it back to your base with them. So there is some risk to the reward of the ease. These peacekeeper scientists are also accompanied by these brand new scientist cobalt turrets, and these things are pretty gnarly looking. They got a big machine gun attached to them, and they've got rocket pods. As of right now, the rocket pods don't do anything, but who knows? That could be something coming in the future. I'd also love a way to be able to eventually make these. Maybe when electricity pops in, I don't know. But they're too cool to only be here. So I'm hoping that one day there's something we can use. Over here, we've got the trap and gun little shop. You'll want to make sure, though, if you do purchase one of these guns, you do not leave them in your active slot, because if you do, you're going to get gunned down. So that isn't very nice of a thing. You don't want that actually happening to you. Over here, you'll find a basic clothing and another tool vending machine right here. The flares that used to be there have been removed just because people can kind of exploit them and they just didn't want to deal with it, which I understand there. So if you break any of the above rules that we saw earlier, you will actually be targeted, and even if you escape, they will remember you. So if you try to come back in, they will gun you down, the turrets will come after you, the scientists will actually chase you. They do patrols in and around here. So that's something you want to kind of, if you're going to be a dick, they're going to get you. That's basically what's happening. And it persists through death. So after they kill you, if you came in here and killed a bunch of people or the scientists for free stuff, well, it's first of all, you can't loot it. So what was the point other than being a jerk? And they will remember you and keep killing you and keep killing you and keep killing you. Now, through my testing, they will keep killing you and keep killing you and keep killing you. And I'm not sure if that status ever goes away, if you can ever come back here in a friendly manner. Because it persisted through a lot of deaths when I tested it. So we'll just have to see what's going on there. But this is definitely a very cool thing added to the game. I can't wait to see how it's used. I'm sure people will find ways to abuse and play around and troll with it. And of course, Facepunch has said they know that's going to happen, and they'll be watching and learning and seeing how to adjust it as they go. So guys, that is the big stuff from this week's update, which is the big monthly update for Rust. All this stuff is live. It is in the actual game itself now. These are not on the staging branch. This is actually added. And yeah, so I'm excited to see this, guys. Go check it out. Sound off down in the comment section below how about you feel about some of this cool stuff that has been added into the game, and we will see you guys next time there's some new stuff, and of course for the next big monthly update as well. Thanks for watching, guys. You have a good one.